We're cutting Brainstorm from Mishra's Bauble in Legacy the Epic Storm. Stick around and find out why. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. Welcome. Today we are in fact cutting Brainstorm from Legacy the Epic Storm, and instead we're adding in Mishra's Bauble. We've tried Jund the Epic Storm in the past, and well, it hasn't always worked. However, a comment in our Discord community recently has made me want to test the idea again. So that's what we're doing today. Jund TES, not new, but I think it is worth visiting now that we're playing Gamble. So over the last 6 months or so, we've been playing Gamble as this wonderful consistency card that allows you to Echo of Eons with ease, because it either finds Lionside Diamond or the Echo itself, and we like that. And traditionally, Brainstorm is that glue. Now we have Gamble. Okay, so you have a red Brainstorm effect. Why wouldn't you just play 2 of it? A very fair question. But that's not what we're doing today. We're testing the waters with a possibly better mana base. So the idea is that now you no longer have to support blue in your mana base. So instead, you get to play an extra mountain in your deck for the sideboard copy of Pulverize, bringing you up to 4 mountains and only 1 land that doesn't sacrifice for Pulverize. You also don't have to fetch for blue, which pulls some strain off the mana base with Mishra's Bauble instead. So you are still playing blue spells. You're playing Song of Creation and Echo of Aeon, so hard casting these will be more difficult. That is certainly a downside. The upside is that ideally you would have better mana for Veil of Summer and Beseech the Mirror. If that's actually true, we'll see, but that is the thesis behind the deck list today. So why would you want to play Brainstorm? Let's start with that. It's one of the most powerful cards in all of Legacy. It adds a great deal of consistency, and it puts back Gaia's Will into your library, so that way you could Beseech the Mirror for it. Okay, those are just a few of the reasons you would want to play Brainstorm, arguably the most powerful card in the format. Well, why wouldn't you want to play Brainstorm? Why would you want to play Mishra's Bauble instead? The 0-mana artifact that slow trips, and then, that's pretty much it. Well, you're a Mox Opal deck, so it provides Metalcraft. We like that. You're a deck with Galvanic Relay, so it provides Storm. Okay, also good. It sacrifices to Beseech the Mirror for bargain. We like that. It triggers Song of Creation for free. I like that too. And with Echo of Aeons, it creates synergy. And what I mean by that is that you could play a Mishra's Bauble and then Echo, and then end up being plus a card after the Echo experience. The downside is that you draw a Mishra's Bauble off of Echo of Aeons, you're not able to Brainstorm and then continue to try to win. So there's some pros and some cons there. But Mishra's Bauble has a lot of synergy with Galvanic Relay, Beseech the Mirror, Song of Creation. Okay, so we're increasing consistency with our synergy, but we're reducing the overall power level of the deck in an effort to possibly get better mana, which I'm not sure is actually true, but, it's something worth trying. In the sideboard today, we are not playing the Void Snare that has been in the Epic Storm 16.8 because, well, we're not a deck that can support blue easily. And the Void Snare was in there as a catch-all to things like Archon of Emeria or Collector Oof, Leyline of the Void, that sort of thing. Instead, we're just going to play the Grapeshot. I've had a few matches recently where, Grapeshot has been, I wouldn't say like wanted, but could have been useful. And instead I had to work a little bit harder. So we're going to play the Grapeshot. You could also play Pick Your Poison. That's another alternative I almost ran today, but I'm choosing to play Grapeshot. It's one of my all-time favorite cards, but Pick Your Poison would also be acceptable. That's the idea. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. But today we're going to play Jund the Epic Storm and test out the waters. I'll see you in the first round. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to round number 1. We are on the play. Let's go. we are going to keep this. So my opponent's last result, by the way, is Gruul Initiative. So a deck without Force of Will. I'm going to try to press my advantage here with this explosive hand that searches out Echo of Eons using Gamble. And then we'll use the Lion's Eye Diamond to discard our hand and make 3 blue. The upside with this hand, we have Metalcraft from the get-go, because we have Chrome Mox, a pair of Mox Opals, and then obviously the Lion's Eye Diamond. So we'll play the Chrome Mox, no imprint. We'll play a copy of Mox Opal, the Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll tap this Opal for a red. We'll play the new one, keep the new one, and now we'll play Gamble. We'll search out Echo of Eons, and we'll tap this for a black, and then we'll add 3 blue using the Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll flash back Echo of Eons, floating a black and then leaving open Taiga. Storm count is 6. It resolves, and we've drawn into a hand that is not capable of winning. This is unfortunate. We'll play out the Lotus Petal and then pass the turn. Well, I guess I can Burning Wish for like Pulverize here. Try to put the Fear of God into them. And then we'll pass. So the idea here is that eventually we can Beseech the Mirror into like Song of Creation or something. But for now we have Pulverize. So if they are in fact on initiative, we have a card that allows us to get through Chalice of the Void. City of Traders. Chalice of the Void on 0, sure. We draw another Mox Opal. So I would be allowed to Beseech the Mirror now. Actually, no, I wouldn't because of the Chalice on 0. So I could Veil of Summer and then play Opal, but I end up 1 mana short. So we'll play the Raucous Theater. Do I keep another Mox Opal? I think I do. We'll put that on top. Pass the turn. They play Cavern of Souls. And they name Human. They exile Elvish Spirit Guide. They now have 4 mana. Caves of Chaos Adventurer. You've got it. I've missed Pulverize so much, by the way. That was the big thing that upset me during the Vexing Bauble era, was that I could not play Pulverize to answer artifacts. Like, that was the biggest downgrade in my opinion. Okay, and now we get a chance to Song of Creation win here. So we'll tap for red, tap for black. I guess I don't need to tap this Chrome Mox that's empty, but I did anyway. You can't stop me. Okay, and now we have our 4 mana. I can play Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. We'll sacrifice the Mox Opal. Okay, now we'll go grab Song of Creation. We'll play Song of Creation. And now we will Pulverize, which is a free spell that will trigger Song of Creation here. Okay, and now the Pulverize. We drew a land. I like that. We'll play Mox Opal. Alright, we'll auto-yield to this for now. 2 more zeros? That's what I want to see. Let's go. And Mishra's Bauble in the sequence will just be insane instead of Brainstorm, not requiring blue mana, but also a free spell that triggers, like right here. We'll imprint Veil of Summer, play a Bauble, and another one, and another one. At this point, I'm just saying another one to like every 0 mana spell. It's fine. We'll make a black, we'll play a Mox Opal. Trying to end this as quickly as possible. We'll keep the new one. Dark Ritual. Oh, we drew Tendrils. What I want to see. Cast it. Target you. It's a shame what happens to Chalice of the Void players. They get their Chalice blown up and then they lose the game. You know, a real tragedy, let me tell you. Sweet. We've taken game number 1. Okay, so I've disabled the card zoom again. I found that I was lagging a little bit in game number 1, and I just don't want that to happen, so I've disabled it again. Alright, so we've boarded up to 67 right now. That would be 7 cards out. So on the draw, I do like leaving 1 Veil of Summer in. Basically, that's so that way you can gamble for the Veil of Summer in an effort to beat Chalice of the Void. Is it wishful thinking? It might be, but I also think that Thoughtseize on the draw isn't particularly great, so we're going to try this out. Game number 2 on the draw. This seems fine to me. If they play Chalice of the Void on 0, the Bauble helping Mox Opal won't matter, but I do like that we're closer to Metalcraft for this Beseech the Mirror. City of Traders, Elvish Spirit Guide, 3 mana into Trinisphere. Well, I do have a hand that can beat Trinisphere. They have 4 cards left. We draw Empty the Warrens. That's not terrible. Raucous Theater. Don't think we need another copy of Thoughtseize. That can go to the graveyard. And we'll pass. Plains? Are you Naya? I guess they could be Boros. Never mind. Well, I've seen ESG. Another Trinisphere. That's less good for me. But they're on 1 land. So we'll just play our Bloodstained Mire and pass. So at this point, I think how we win this game is most likely Burning Wish for Pulverize. Alternatively, I'd have to find the Abrupt Decay and then use a Beseech plus Abrupt Decay, which is a little bit less likely. Come on, no land. Ah, they have a Cavern of Souls. Okay. They name human. So they could just be Boros with the Elvish Spirit Guides, but that seems a little odd. Like, that's not a normal thing. So the fact that they're playing white too is just interesting. We'll grab the Commercial District. Lion's Eye Diamond. I would love to keep this. It just doesn't help me here. We'll get rid of it. Echo of Eons. We will fetch now. Grab Badlands, I suppose. Play the Mishra's Bauble, which costs 3 mana. And we'll target them. So I could Thoughtseize. That was on my mind. Fairy Macabre, don't care. But I want to try to find Burning Wish first. Like, I'm going to use my resources to do that. And if I miss, then I can play Thoughtseize. They've already shown us that they didn't have mana last turn to play something into Trinisphere. So my bet was that they don't have it. Could my bet be wrong? Absolutely. That's interesting, because now I can just Beseech the Mirror the hard way for Abrupt Decay. Alright, Diabolic Tutor. We will grab Abrupt Decay. Pass the turn. My best draw would actually just be a fetch land on my turn, because that would allow me to end step, destroy both Trinispheres. Oh wow, and we hit Wooded Foothills. What an incredible draw! There we go. Pass the turn. Pass the turn. How does it feel being stuck underneath your own Trinisphere? Let me tell you, from this side of the table, it looks glorious. The deck with 12 lands on the draw, outlanding initiative? What a world. They have Simian Spirit Guide, 3 mana here, and they play Chalice of the Void for 0. Sure. End step, we will fetch and grab our last fetchable land, which will be Taiga, and then we'll destroy 1 copy of Trinisphere. And then we'll Beseech the other. They will be able to search their library for a land with a basic land type. They find a mountain. So this is definitely one spot where not being on blue could be a little bit weird. Like, we could still win this, don't get me wrong. But my fear here is, what if, and I'm just talking out loud here, the goblins don't get the job done. Not having blue mana to hardcast this Echo could bite me. They have double Seasoned Dungeoneer, so we're hoping that they don't draw a land. We'll take 1 copy of Seasoned Dungeoneer, I suppose. Play out a Lotus Petal. This will be countered by the Chalice. Another copy of Mox Opal. I was going to say Lotus Petal, but it's not another copy. And now we'll just play a very sad Empty the Warrens for Storm 4. So 8 goblins. Pass the turn. And they did draw the land. They're Naya. Confirmed. Naya initiative. So now they will be able to go grab the... they'll be able to play their Seasoned Dungeoneer, go grab another basic, and they have double Fairy Macabre in hand. We can steal the initiative from them, but I don't have a basic land. So the idea is that hopefully if we steal the initiative enough times, that trap finishes the game for us. We draw Tendrils. Okay. Not a whole lot of storm count going on here. Swing, better, swing. Alright, so they'll take 7. We will steal the initiative. So we'll go through the first room of the Undercity. Oh no, we don't have any basics. And then we can Burning Wish here. So a cool way to get Storm for this Burning Wish, or for the Tendrils of Agony in our hand, is to go grab the sideboard copy of Beseech the Mirror. And Beseech the Mirror has a hidden mode on it that people often forget, which is that you could sacrifice tokens. So I can play Beseech the Mirror next turn, bargain away goblin tokens after I attack, and then go grab like a Dark Ritual. So we have 1 Beseech in the graveyard, and then we have 2 more in the deck. So Storm 1, 2, 3, Dark Ritual would be 4, this Tendrils of Agony would be 5. So I have lethal on my turn. Broadside Bombardier, and now they'll swing. They flip over a Magus of the Moon. So they move to Forge. They can fling the Seasoned Dungeoneer with the Broadside, but that's not lethal. We draw Gamble. We'll swing. So they'll take 7, going down to 6. And now we'll go to Forge. Put 2 counters on a Goblin token. And then black, 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 red, Beseech the Mirror, sacrifice Goblin token. We'll grab another copy of Beseech the Mirror. We will bargain. Grab another copy of Beseech the Mirror because I can. Bargain that. And now we'll grab Dark Ritual. Play it. Storm is 4. And then I need this Taiga for the Tendrils of Agony mana. Like, you might have been saying, Bryant, why not play Gamble? Gamble, to start off this turn, would have introduced risk, where my line had no risk. So that is why I did not play it. But we've just defeated Naya Initiative in match number 1. What a crazy round. But we got there. We're now 1-0 to start off this Legacy League with Jund the Epic Storm. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Back for match number 2, we're on the play, and our opponent's Goldfish history is absolutely full of Eldrazi results, so that's what we can assume that they're playing today. Here we have a hand that looks decent, so because this is a Mishra's Bauble, we are able to Galvanic Relay on the first turn. Okay, so we could see 4 new cards on turn 2. We have Burning Wish for a potential Pulverize, which we like against Eldrazi. My fear with this is, what if I relay and miss? That is a concern. We could try to mulligan into Lion's Eye Diamond plus Echo of Eons or Gamble. Like, this is a fine hand. I would keep this in a lot of matchups. I just wonder if this is the sort of hand you want versus Eldrazi. The fact that we have Burning Wish and a Pulverize makes me more likely to keep it. It's just off the relay for 4, you have to hit mana. That is my one big concern here. I'm going to mulligan. I think that it would be a fine hand in a lot of matchups, but this hand is just better. We will put back Beseech the Mirror. And this is what I was talking about in the deck tech too, where we have Mishra's Bauble, so that this is an extra card that you would theoretically get that Brainstorm wouldn't when you're an Echo of Eons deck. Because you're going to be able to cash in this Bauble where we wouldn't have ended up playing Brainstorm. Not to mention, it does increase your ability to get Metalcraft after an Echo. We like that. So we'll go search out the Echo of Eons. And now we'll add 3 blue. Draw. Storm is 5. Okay. And this is a game where it looks like we get to win because we're playing Mishra's Bauble instead of Brainstorm. So we will Beseech the Mirror, bargain the Mox Opal. We can grab another Beseech the Mirror just for fun. We'll do that. And our opponent concedes! That was sweet. Alright, Bauble looked pretty good there. We'll do the same plan that we did in the prior match. Get rid of some number of Veil Summers on the draw, with that number being 3. And then all of the Galvanic Relays. I had some comments recently on a video that were like, why would you play Thoughtseize in your sideboard when you bring it in almost every matchup? Or why would you play Galvanic Relay in your main deck when you board it out all the time? And I think that leads to a lot of fundamentally flawed thinking, which is your main deck is supposed to be the best against a wide field. Okay, I think most people would agree with that. My sideboard is constructed to beat other sideboarded decks. Like, Thoughtseize may come in a lot, but that's because it's looking to beat Consign to Memory, Mindbreak Trap, things that come out of other people's sideboards. Galvanic Relay is best in Game 1 situations because it's a hybrid protection/action spell. Yeah, it's not good against specifically Chalice of the Void, but the entire format isn't Chalice of the Void decks. So far, this league it has been, but it's a small sample size of one league. Meanwhile, Galvanic Relay is still fine against mid-range and control and other combo decks, and it's really good off of an Echo of Eons. So I think that it's ultimately fine. So we have an answer to Chalice of the Void. Unfortunately, the Gaia's Will is in my hand, so we will need to draw into an artifact to put Song of Creation onto the battlefield, and then we would need something to trigger it. So is this a keep? I think it is. It's essentially a mulligan with the Gaia's Will. And I'm sure a lot of you are laughing to yourselves like, haha, Bryant and Gaia's Will. Trust me, I've already thought of it. I will say they're not on Eldrazi today. But we're choosing to play a deck list today that doesn't have Brainstorm for Gaia's Will too. Deafening Silence, sure. So this could be like 60 card Death and Taxes. We drew the artifact we wanted. That was good. All right, we'll play the Raucous Theater. I believe we want that Dark Ritual. Keep. Pass. So next turn we can cast Dark Ritual off of the Raucous Theater. Use Taiga for green. Yeah, we can Song of Creation next turn. Ooh, it looks like they kept a hand on the back of Deafening Silence. So let's talk through this. I can... So Dark Ritual, that leaves 2 floating. I could Thoughtseize after to trigger the song. It just doesn't protect it from something like a Mindbreak Trap. I think that's worth it. Dark Ritual. Like, if they opened up on Deafening Silence Mindbreak Trap, congratulations. You've earned it. We will now Beseech Who Endures, destroy the Deafening Silence. Dark Ritual. From Mox, we will imprint the Gaia's Will. Actually, come to think of it, I could also Thoughtseize into Empty the Warrens. Is that better? Protects me from Mindbreak Trap. Yeah, let's do that. Thoughtseize. I don't know what you're playing. I guess we take Flicker. I guess Flicker Wisp and the Skyclaves are all the same. I don't even know here. I guess we'll take the 1 card that they can actually play, which is Suppression Field. And now we will Beseech the Mirror with Bargain. And then we'll go grab Empty the Warrens. Cast it. 12 Goblins. Nice Deafening Silence. And they concede the match. We're now 2-0. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. We've won a 3rd consecutive die roll. I love that. And we're facing someone who has a weird history on MTG Goldfish. Reanimator, 8 Mulch, Necrodominance combo. All of these decks that they play have a bunch of Mindbreak Traps in the sideboard. So it's crucial that we win game number 1. And getting the die roll certainly helps that. Alright, so if this commercial district was an untapped land, this would be a deterministic win with the sideboard Beseech the Mirror, because you could bargain away the Mishra's Bauble, which Brainstorm could not do. So the question is, do you risk it here? Do you keep a hand that is a turn 2 win versus something that could be Reanimator, could be Necrodominance combo, could be lands? I think I'm going to keep. They've taken a mulligan to 5. So part of the reason that I'm choosing to keep here is that I do have Veil of Summer. So out of the 3 decks that I listed, I am most afraid of Necrodominance combo, but I could Veil of Summer in response to the Necrodominance trigger, and then hopefully buy a turn that way. We'll keep the land on top. That allows me to peer into the Abyss. We'll play the Bauble. Brainstorm. Okay, so not any of the decks I listed. We'll play out the Lotus Petal. We'll pass the turn. Maybe I should have played out the diamonds in case they're on a Storm deck and they echo. Alright, so I'd like an artifact here because that would give me a... Wow, Mox Opal. Would give me Beseech the Mirror win, where I don't have to stress. This is now a protected peer into the Abyss. That could also win through days, I believe. We will Veil of Summer. We know that they're sitting on Brainstorm. So if I had to take a wild guess, this is probably Dimir Reanimator, based on their Goldfish history. They search out an island. They play that Brainstorm. Storm is 5. I will say the Bauble has seemed good so far. I'm seeing a lot of areas where it feels a little bit smoother than Brainstorm. Veil of Summer on the stack. We draw into Chrome Mox. So we do, in fact, have a deterministic win here. We will fetch. So this might be me being a little bit greedy. But if they're going to just F6, I'm going to peer into the Abyss with the hope that I could Thoughtseize them at some point. So we'll see if they end up conceding to my peer or not. Burning Wish resolves. We will grab peer into the Abyss, target myself, and they concede. So I do not get the joy of finding out what they're playing, but I'm going to guess it's Dimir Reanimator. We'll bring in Thoughtseize. It's interesting. Now that we have Mishra's... So the former game plan was to shave one gamble and then one of each Mox. But I wonder if Mox Opal is better than Chrome Mox now that we have a bunch of Baubles. It might not be. It's just a thought that I have here. We'll try out the same configuration as the Brainstorm game plan. It's an interesting thought. So here we have an awkward hand that has the Tendrils. That said, the rest of the hand is pretty good. So I think I'm going to keep and see what we can make happen. If I can draw into a Chrome Mox, we could actually imprint the Tendrils and then gamble the Echo of Eons into the graveyard while having Lotus Petal for blue. We'll play Raucous Theater. Don't want land number 4. We'll play out the Lotus Petal. So the fact that they led on Island, I think, is pretty interesting here. Like, I could have played turn 1 Thoughtseize, but I don't know that they're actually Reanimator. And I want my Surveil lands in play. Like, I want to be able to fetch for untap lands later. So we'll see what they're actually up to. Plus, if I Thoughtseize, I want to be able to protect it with Veil of Summer. That's something I am interested in. So they show us a Brainstorm. If I had played Thoughtseize on turn 1, they likely would have hid their best card. They used Polluted Delta for another island. So not Dimir Reanimator, and now they play Ponder. They shuffled off the Ponder. So right now, my gut tells me it's a Show and Tell variant or like High Tide. We'll play Verdant Catacombs. Let's try Thoughtseize. We're going to Force of Will, exiling Lorien Revealed. We will go grab our Bayou and then play Veil of Summer. A feature of this mana base today is we have 2 untapped green sources, and our opponent just straight up concedes the match. I don't even know what they were playing. Wow. All right, so we're now 3-0. Veil of Summer plus Thoughtseize, way too powerful for Legacy. But the blue mana base was not able to do this. I would have had to have played out the Taiga. I'm just throwing that out there. So here, I had the luxury of playing Verdant because I knew that I could fetch for the Bayou, or if Thoughtseize just resolved, I could go grab the other Surveil land. So a slight upgrade in the mana base right there. But wow, 3-0, 6-0, we are cruising through this league. Stick around for match number 4. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. I wish I won the die roll, but I did not. So we're facing what is likely the mirror match here in round number 4. I will keep. Our opponent recently top-8'd, I believe was the European Masters with the Epic Storm, losing to Dimir Reanimator in the top 8 over the past weekend. So I am fortunate enough to know that we're playing the mirror match, but we lost the die roll. So I am hoping that they, mulliganed into a hand that's a turn 2, or they echo and then I get a hand that is able to win. Bloodstained Mire. They search out Badlands, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual. Uh-oh, they have a good hand. This is not good for me. They just have turn 1 peer into the Abyss. Sure. Yeah, we're dead. I told you I needed to win the die roll. It did not happen. The Epic Storm is just too powerful. Yep. We can go to the next one. Okay. So we have to win game number 2 now. And then hopefully they fizzle in game number 3. And I accidentally just cited in Beseech. We'll fix that. Get rid of the Galvanic Relay. Okay, on the play. We lost our first game. Don't love that. Game number 2, we're on the play. This is so close. This is a mulligan, unfortunately. So this is just an echo if I can win the gamble. But I think we keep this. We'll get rid of the Bayou. Play Taiga. So we want to discard a land here. I don't want to discard Mox Opal. I want to be clear about that, but I think having the opal in my hand is better than it in play, just for the chance of maximizing I get to keep Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, so we'll play the diamond, Mox Opal, and now we spin. Storm is 4. We grab another Echo of Eons. Okay, so we're not actually doing a whole lot here. Chrome Mox, no imprint, Lion's Eye Diamond, and now we'll spin again. Right round, baby, right round. Storm is 8. So I'm just short. I have 3 mana and not 4. So I can play Thoughtseize, target them. Wow. Talk about a new 7. This is insane. We take the gamble. Maybe I was supposed to Bauble first? I'm going to pass the turn. In their upkeep will Bauble. Please don't be an action spell. Okay. So the worst thing that could happen is our opponent surveils into an Echo of Eons. They play the Verdant, Mox Opal, Lion's Eye Diamond, plays Lotus Petal, Thoughtseize. So I do have to Veil of Summer this. We draw Burning Wish, which I'm not sure is actually all that great here. They Verdant Catacombs, so this is where they try to dig out the Echo. They put Badlands to the graveyard, Lion's Eye Diamond. We draw off the Bauble. It's a gamble. And then we draw Tendrils. So do I have a win here? We can play Chrome Mox that will give me Metalcraft. I could imprint the Tendrils. The question is, can I string together a win after that? I'd have 3 black. And then Beseech the Mirror. And I don't think I can... So we get Guy's Will into Beseech. I have a crazier idea. What if I fetch Burning Wish, Pulverize, leave them with just under City Sewers Mox Opal? Is that insane? I think that's the move. I mean, I don't love this, but I think it's a good line. We'll grab Badlands, play the Burning Wish, Pulverize, and this at least gives me some time. I know that they're sitting on Mox Opal under City Sewers, because like I could have gambled and gotten like Dark Ritual or something else and, you know, won that turn. It's just risky, where I feel like this line reduces risk. We'll keep the Verdant, pass the turn. We will fetch, grab Raucous Theater, Surveil, Beseech the Mirror, that can go to the graveyard. So I'm just talking out loud here. Something I could do is gamble for Lion's Eye Diamond. If I keep Chrome Mox and Burning Wish, I have a win next turn. So I want to... So I'm 40% success rate. Because you obviously want the Lion's Eye Diamond, you want the Burning Wish. But I could live with discarding the Chrome Mox. We'll try it. We'll grab Lion's Eye Diamond. Tendrils to the graveyard. Okay, so I'll play out the diamond. It's the most important card here. Pass the turn. They drew Brainstorm. So this is where Brainstorm is a very good card because now they can convert this dead Mox Opal into something useful. Dark Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond. No way! They hit Dark Ritual LED Echo. Wow! Insane. Are we dead? I thought there was no chance we lost that turn. I have a feeling we're dead. They're playing cards like we're dead here. They left in Galvanic Relay. That's a little odd. And the fact that they imprinted it definitely means I'm dead. And they have the Burning Wish. What a Brainstorm. So, I mean, that's the reason you play it right there. Oh, no, that's not a relay. That's a gamble. It's just the Vintage Masters printing. My bad. Apologies to the opponent. But yeah, we just got absolutely destroyed by Brainstorm that turn. Holy moly. So we saw the power of Brainstorm. We've seen the synergy of Mishra's Bauble so far. What an exciting league, honestly. The Epic Storm 100% win rate. You can't argue that. But let's see how we do in match number 5. Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm. Match number 5. We are on the play versus someone who's likely playing Grixis Delver. And here we have quite the hand. We will keep. This is a turn 1 Galvanic Relay thanks to Mishra's Bauble. That's what I'm here for. Let's go. I'm actually kind of torn right now. I know that we lost last game because our opponent had like one of the world's best brainstorms ever, and that can happen. Brainstorm is a super powerful card. That said, I've actually been fairly impressed by Mishra's Bauble in this league so far. I felt like it's just been the glue in a lot of these games with making stuff work. We'll lead on Mishra's Bauble, Mox Opal, and I'm purposely playing the Mox Opal, or I'm sorry, the Chrome Mox last here, because I don't want them to force of will it. And that seems counterintuitive with Mox Opal in play, but I do think that, how do I word this? If you lead on the Chrome Mox, revealing that you have less cards in hand, it could be a punish if they just force of will the Mox Opal, where I feel like most people don't think twice about something like Chrome Mox. I'm going to choose to imprint the Beseech the Mirror here, just because Burning Wish ends up being better with something like Lion's Eye Diamond off the top, and I could just tap 2 mana next turn to go grab another Galvanic Relay or something else. We'll grab a Taiga, and Relay for 4. Another Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, Gamble, Chrome Mox. We have plenty of artifacts. Cool. In their upkeep, I will Mishra's Bauble them. In case they're playing Thoughtseize, you don't want to do it on your own turn. Dragon's Rage Channeler, Volcanic Island, Mishra's Bauble. So we know that they have the Channeler that they did not play. So they're not likely to play it if they were willing to not play it here on turn 1. So they'll draw and then we'll draw. We draw into another Bauble and another Burning Wish. Okay, we'll play Lotus Petal. Play Mishra's Bauble. Actually, do I want to play the Bauble? I guess it's too late. I already did it. I think that might have been a mistake. Because now I can't... Theoretically, I could have done a 50-50 gamble, but it was too... I didn't mean to play it. It's just, it happened. We'll play Burning Wish. It resolves. We'll grab the other Galvanic Relay from the sideboard. Play Chrome Mox. Maybe I should have played the Opal first. Because now, if I don't want to lose the days, I have to imprint. That's weird. They Brainstorm in response. So they're adding to my storm count here. So if they Brainstorm into like Days Force of Will, they can cut me off. Chrome Mox on the stack. Like, I'm not sure that I'm playing this game perfectly. Like, I'm going to be honest with you here. But I will say that the baubles this game have seemed incredible with the Galvanic Relay synergy. We'll tap this. Play another Opal. We'll keep the new Opal. And now we can Galvanic Relay for 7. And another thing we could do is play the Gamble from exile and then put Echo of Eons directly to the graveyard, assuming that they don't have a Daze. We see Lion's Eye Diamond, Galvanic Relay, Tendrils of Agony, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Mishra's Bauble, and Beseech the Mirror. So I will now gamble. This will, if it resolves, we'll put Echo of Eons to the graveyard. They Daze. Sure. We will pass the turn. Target you with Mishra's Bauble. Wasteland. They don't play Wasteland. Instead, they play out Volcanic Island into Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. We'll draw off the Bauble. Bloodstained Mire. And a Dark Ritual. Play Dark Ritual. Play the Bloodstained Mire. Play Mishra's Bauble. Lion's Eye Diamond. So even if they have a Force of Will for Beseech the Mirror, I'm sitting on Relay Tendrils of Agony in exile. We're in a terrific spot. We'll play Chrome Mox. Like, our opponent's hand would have to be like, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to think what they'd have to have in order to beat me this game. We'll play another Mox Opal. Keep the new one. And now we can Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the empty Chrome Mox. And they do Force of Will, which is fine. They exile a Murktide Regent. So they have 2 cards left in hand. We know one of them is a Wasteland. They put another Dragon's Rage Channeler to the graveyard. We will search our deck with the Bloodstained Mire. So it's interesting. So you could relay Tendrils, and that would be 18. So they would go to 1. Or you can just say Tendrils put you to 3 and get an extra card off of the relay. And I think that's actually just better. Because them being at 1 or them being at 3 is effectively the same to me. So we'll target them. Also, what a showing for Galvanic Relay this game. Like, I know that we're like grinding our opponent to a pulp here, but It's looked very good this game versus the fair blue deck. And now we'll Galvanic Relay for 9. A red Necropotence. Lion's Eye Diamond, plus a bunch of other cards. No Burning Wish, no Beseech the Mirror. We'll target them with the Bauble. Also, we've seen over 50% of our deck and have not had a Veil of Summer this game. Another Wasteland. So we know that they now have double Wasteland in their hand that they cannot play. Actually, was Song of Creation in my pile? Because if it is, this is a pretty simple Song of Creation win. I don't know if it was, though. That might have been a previous Galvanic Relay. Alright, so now we know that the last card in their hand is another copy of Wasteland. We'll draw off the Mishra's Bauble. We draw Gamble. And a Lion's Eye Diamond. So I'll play my land for the turn. And here we still have the blue to hardcast Song of Creation because I have an active Mox Opal. We'll grab Bayou. So Beseech the Mirror can be our colorless for the Song of Creation. Opal will be blue, red, and then I just need green off of one of these. We'll play Song of Creation. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. We will draw off Song. Burning Wish and a Mishra's Bauble. Okay, I was thinking that maybe I was going to like gamble, hope, priority, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I think that draw just means that we can win the normal way. Okay, Storm is 4. We'll play out Diamond. 16 cards left in our deck. It's important to not forget and then accidentally deck yourself. We'll play Burning Wish. Triggers on the stack. You can sacrifice both of your diamonds to make mana. And our opponent is still at 3, so you could win with Grapeshot here, you could win with Tendrils of Agony, whatever your heart desires. But I'm not going to show them the Grapeshot, personally. So I'm going to grab Tendrils of Agony, and we'll cast it. Sweet. And we drew Galvanic Relay number 4. Okay, so now we go into the post-board games, where we want Thoughtseize, because they have a bunch of consigned to memories coming in. And Magic Online is just like scrolling on its own a little bit, don't love that. But we'll bring in Thoughtseize, take out one Gamble, and then one of each Mox. And we'll try this. Game number 2, I believe we keep hands with Galvanic Relay and lands. So we will try this one out. Our opponent on a mulligan to 5. They have Polluted Delta. They fetch. Underground Sea. Is this a Thoughtseize? Delver of Secrets. Another Burning Wish. Not a great draw. We'll play the Wooded Foothills and pass. Delver triggers. They do not reveal. They play Ponder. So with my first draw of the game being Burning Wish, I'm less excited about this hand, just because it feels a little clunky. But we're going to make do with what we have. My plan is to, on their end step, search out a Surveil land. Ideally, I would find Chrome Mox, and then we could do a mini Galvanic Relay for 3. Volcanic Island. And now they swing for 1 with 3 cards remaining in their hand. Alright, let's go search out Raucous Theater. Surveil 1, Thoughtseize. I think we keep that just because we have the relay, but I'm a little worried about our mana situation. We'll Thoughtseize them. They do have consigned to memory. We will take it. Pass the turn. Delver of Secrets. Flips over to Hydroblast, which is obviously good against what my hand is doing. So they have Brainstorm, Orcish Bowmaster's Hydroblast. Come on, Chrome Mox. Mox Opal. I think I'm going to play out a Burning Wish here to just draw out the Hydroblast, because it means that they can't Bowmasters me this turn. And if they just let it resolve, I'm grabbing Echo of Eons when I have a Veil of Summer for the Bowmasters. And they let it go. Alright, I will grab Echo of Eons. Alternatively, I could have grabbed Gamble, and then try to Gamble into an LED. I think a lot of things have to go right for that to work, but it's a choice. They play the Bowmasters, so we know that they still have Hydroblast plus Brainstorm in hand. So my life total is getting a little bit low for this Galvanic Relay. I'm at 12. I'm about to take 5 down to 7. Ouch. Now they Brainstorm. So I'd be dead to another Orcish Bowmasters next turn, because that would be 7 damage. And they pass the turn after Brainstorm. We draw Lion's Eye Diamond. How about that? We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Mox Opal. Play Mishra's Bauble. Let's attempt a Veil of Summer. They force a Will pitching Ponder, so we know that the last card in their hand is Hydroblast. Interesting. That was a good Brainstorm. So if I wait, I have a deterministic win next turn if I draw black mana. I'm going to pass the turn. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt or another Orcish Bowmasters. So this is 5. And you might be saying, why not use the Bauble? So if I use Bauble, Orcish Bowmasters will trigger, and I will go to 1, which shuts off every fetch land in my deck from winning me the game here. Another Echo. Ah, brutal. We just did not draw mana this game. So I can Echo into Bowmasters, but I'd have to draw it into Veil of Summer, and it has to resolve. Not a situation I'd like to be in here. So we are casting Echo of Eons, and I did not draw Veil of Summer. So we lost to the mulligan to 5 in a hand where we opened up Relay because we just didn't draw mana. Disappointing. I'm going to believe in the game plan and we'll resubmit. Game 3, the final game of this Legacy League. And we have a turn 1 Galvanic Relay plus Echo. Like, we keep these. You have a Relay for 4 on the play. Hopefully it finds some protection. Okay, we'll play Wooded Foothills. Lion's Eye Diamond. We will fetch with the Wooded Foothills. Grab Bayou. Cast the Dark Ritual. And I'm grabbing Bayou here because I have a red card to imprint for Galvanic Relay. So we'll have all 3 colors. And this means that if I reveal a Veil of Summer to this Galvanic Relay, my Echo could be protected next turn. Beseech the Mirror. Lotus Petal. Bloodstained Mire. Mishra's Bauble. So I'm just talking out loud here. Next turn, hypothetically, Bloodstained Mire, Lotus Petal is... I have enough to Beseech the Mirror next turn, so should I Echo right now? If I Echo right now and get Force of Willed, I draw a Force of Will out of their hand, but I could still Beseech next turn. My fear is if I pass the turn and then they Meltdown, I can't do anything. Looking at most deck lists, they're on 1 Meltdown right now, but 6 Forces. You know what? I'm just going to spin the wheel. I think it's good enough because even if this does get forced, I'm reducing the risk. And if it resolves, that's great too. And they don't have time here to ponder into a force or something else. And it looks like my Echo resolves. Sweet. So I do have enough resources here to go all in on a Burning Wish into Galvanic Relay. But is that a play that I want to make? I'm not so sure about that. Of course, we drew into the guys. Well, naturally. We'll target them with the Bauble. I don't know why I'm doing it now, but I did. So under round C, I'm going to pass. I feel like we're in a good spot for this game. Song of Creation, not an amazing draw. They don't play the Underground Sea, and instead they just play Island. Another Lion's Eye Diamond is the draw. I mean, that's great. We'll play Lotus Petal, Mishra's Bauble. Let's play another Lotus Petal. We will fetch, grab a Badlands. I would like to try a Burning Wish for a Thoughtseize here. That resolves. We'll play Thoughtseize. Storm is 5. They have Force of Will, Spell Pierce. We'll take the Spell Pierce. Lion's Eye Diamond. So I have them stuck here because I actually have a pair of wins. I can go Burning Wish into empty, or I can just Beseech the Mirror and win. They both are fine. We'll hold control. Cast Burning Wish, and we'll add black, we'll add red. So if I were in their seat, I would counter the Burning Wish. Well, actually, I would not counter the Burning Wish. I would let the Burning Wish resolve. Because at least if I empty here, so you're supposed to save the Force of Will for the Beseech. Because if they force this, Beseech into Tendrils is guaranteed lethal, where you could theoretically top deck and out to empty the Warrens. We will grab empty. You look at their top card, I guess. I probably should have done this first, but oh well. I have not played perfect in this league, but I feel like I've played okay enough. And they concede. Nice. So the Epic Storm had a 100% win rate this league. You cannot argue with me. You would be wrong. So we got the 4-1. Deck felt really good. I'm a little torn, though. Mishra's Bauble felt very strong. It was not Brainstorm. And in our one loss, we saw how incredible Brainstorm was. So I'm looking for feedback from you, the viewer. Do you think I should continue to explore Jund the Epic Storm and the synergy between Mishra's Bauble, Echo, Song of Creation, Galvanic Relay, etc.? Or should I just be focusing on the raw power level of Brainstorm? I'm not sure, because obviously the one match we lost, Brainstorm was incredible. That said, I felt like Bauble was very good in every match we won. I don't know. So I really do want to hear your feedback. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, keep storming. Hey, Bryant Cook. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. There's no better way to support our channel. If you're interested in elevating your combo game, visit theepicstorm.com/tutoring for details about our coaching sessions. Don't worry, there's more great combo content coming right up.